Welcome everyone to Burge's Power Hour. Can you believe it? It's April, whatever day is it? The 21st,
Yes.
2021. And tonight, we are going to be exploring what is my purpose and why am I here? I don't know. Why are you here? Did you have something else you could have done?
Why not?
So those of you who I can see, welcome. Those of you who I can't, welcome. Those of you on the recording, I had a lot of people register for this, and everybody who registered will get a recording of it. So yay. And those of you who are with me live now, I see Joe will be able to play with me on a deeper level. So it's kind of cool to show up, right? So I'm just glad you're here. And just as always, those of you who have done any of these power hours, it's very experiential. Get your paper and your pen out. You're going to need something to write with on this one. And hey, Jojo. And I'm going to be able to, I'm going to do something a little different this time. I thought, I do a lot of webinars and I do a lot of different virtual workshops. And normally my power hours, I don't show slides or that kind of thing because I've been doing this for so long without video, but I'm going to go ahead and show a couple of slides just for fun because I have them. So why not? So those of you who can't see, if you're just using your phone, hopefully you can still see it, but I'll still be talking over it. So hopefully it will make sense. And I would like for everybody to stay unmuted unless you have background noise. If you have background noise, please mute yourself or I'll have to start muting everybody. But I'm just glad we're here together. So without further ado, Robert said why he's here. He said, why not? So, I'm talking about why am I here on the planet? But maybe that's the same answer. Same answer, right? So
Exactly.
Why not? So what is my purpose? And so hopefully today you'll be able to dip down in a little bit about some of your subconscious beliefs about why you are here and maybe get some clarity. So I'm excited to play with you now. And again, those of you who I can't hear or see, hopefully you'll be able to play with us and I'll be able to hear you soon at least. Okay, so let me give you a definition of purpose. Could it be the reason you were created?
Yeah.
Could it be that? Or it could be, maybe a definition could be why something exists. Why did they exist? So a purpose could mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And I've been teaching Essence of Being for almost 30 years now. I've been involved in personal development for 45 years. I'm old, and I'm telling you, people come to me all the time and they say, I'm just teasing, I'm not old. Cancel clear. But I've been doing this a long time. And people come to me and they say, Burge, what is my purpose? I feel like I'm off track, And one of the things Joe used to say, now that he's on the call tonight, he used to say, Essence of Being is like a GPS. Sometimes we get off of track and maybe we don't feel like we're on purpose. So what does that mean, being on purpose? Daryl says, I'm here to be of service and spread love. Awesome. Well, can't do better than that, I don't think. Hi, Peggy Lee. Glad you're here, honey. So let's just ask yourself, if you choose to, am I on track? Am I on track with my purpose right now? Am I off track? How do I know when I'm off track and how do I know when I'm on track? How do you know? So these are the questions that you might get some clarity about. And here's another question for you, and ask yourself this: do I need to see proof that I make a difference? So for many people, it's like they're not on track or they don't have a purpose unless they can know that they make a difference, or sometimes we need validation.
Isn't that what faith is?
Can be. Well, faith can be a lot of things, but it's certainly, faith is perhaps you don't even see it, but you believe it. You don't have to see it to believe it. For some people, faith can be trusting and allowing, right? And not ask howing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So sure. But I think for some of us, sometimes we need validation. Like, am I really on track? Do I need proof to show myself that I am valuable or that I make a difference? I mean, how do I know that? I know for me, sometimes I get lost sometimes. And I think, why am I doing this? Hey, Carolyn. Yay.
Hi. Sorry, late. But
Sometimes I ask myself, why am I doing this? You know, why am I busting my britches to do whatever I do and show up however I show up? And then sometimes I have to, my secret, for those of you who know me, is I look at my testimonials. I have things that I can go back to and look at and say, oh, okay, all right, I made a difference with somebody. Okay, I'll keep doing it. Because I don't know about you, but whatever your goals are and whatever you choose to create in your life, the question is, you know, am I adding value or not? And for a lot of people, they don't know, or they don't think they know. Or maybe the answer is no, sometimes I don't add value. So this is for you. And if you know you add value, this is for you too, because what I'm going to share with you right now is one of the most powerful generalized principles that you can adopt if you choose to. And this is what I am going to show us a couple of slides tonight just for fun, because I can. Hopefully you can see them, and then we'll come back out, okay? But do you know, so all of you are graduates that I can see. It's funny, all of you that I can see are graduates. You're not afraid. Okay, I'm teasing. Okay, so here's the thing. Have you ever heard of Buckminster Fuller? Anyone? Okay, Beulah.
Yeah.
Of course you have. So Bucky, for those of you who haven't, Buckminster Fuller came up with this he had a lot of generalized principles that he came up with, but one of the ones he did was precession. And it's one of my near and dear, most famous, I love this concept. So I'm going to just show you a slide because I can, or not. So I'm going to share my screen. And no, I'm not going to share it. Okay, well, that's nice to know. Okay, I don't know what happened to it. Of course, I decided to do this and it. Okay, all right, well, I'm not going to share my screen. So it went away. Why did it go away, you guys? Tell me why.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, it does though. I worked really hard on this screen. Wow. Okay.
Do Alt Tab.
It just went away. Alt Tab?
Yeah, Alt Tab will navigate between the screens that you have open. So it might show up.
Yeah, no, it didn't, but that's okay. All right. So, hi, Dawn. I see you, and I see Arlene. So, precession. Wow, that is crazy. So, precession is the effect of bodies in motion on other bodies in motion.
Yeah.
Okay. So, just imagine these slides I'm showing you. So, what that means is let me give you an example. When you drop a stone down into water and you drop it into a pond, it creates a ripple, doesn't it? So it's a body in motion affecting another body in motion. Just like the earth and the moon. Do they affect each other? Yeah. There are two bodies in motion affecting bodies in motion. So another concept or another example is let me ask you a question. When the bumblebee or the honeybee, when the honeybee goes to get the nectar, right? What is the goal of that honeybee?
To eat.
To what?
Food.
Food. To get the nectar, right? The honey,
pollination.
right. The honeybee is going to the nectar, is nectar. That's the goal. The honeybee has a goal. I want the nectar. So he's going toward the nectar, but what is the true purpose? Because tonight's about purpose. What is the true purpose
why are you making it
of
softer?
the honeybee? in the grander scheme of things?
Want to hear her.
Anyone?
Cross pollination.
Thank you, Robert.
Yes, ma'am.
Cross pollination. So remember the science class, you didn't know you were going to get science tonight, did you? So what happens is the bee steps all over the flowers. And so what happens is it cross pollinates. Now, does the bee wake up every morning and go, I'm going to cross pollinate today? No, the bee goes after the nectar, 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 nectar. So the bee's going towards something. But guess what? He has an effect that he's not even aware of. In the grand scheme of things, when we have a goal, sometimes when we think, oh, I'm going to make money, I'm going to create whatever, I'm going to get a relationship, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I have all these goals. And you're going toward the goal. You're going toward the nectar, 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 nectar. Well, what's happening is you actually are creating an effect by moving toward that goal. Now, you may not wake up every morning and say, oh, I'm going to go create an effect. I'm going to go have an effect somewhere. Okay. And you may not even know, just like the honeybee, you may not even know what your effect is. For example, sometimes if you're in the grocery store, I mean, maybe you see somebody and you give them $1 or you help them do something or you let them get in line or you do something and you have no idea what kind of effect you just had on that person. Maybe they had a really terrible day. Maybe their child is sick. Maybe they've lost hope. And you're the one person that comes to them and says, I care. Just by a simple here, get in line. So you have an effect whether you know it or not, as long as you're moving toward the goal. But see, what happens is people get so concerned about what's my purpose, what's my goal, right? So the goal, that's not it. So why make goals? To keep you moving. Okay? To keep you moving, because as long as you're moving towards something, you're having an effect. The minute you stop, you have no effect. The minute you stop doing whatever it is you're doing, you have no effect. And Bucky was so brilliant. He said it usually the effect, the precessional effect that you have is at a 90-degree angle, right? Meaning you don't even know, perhaps. Maybe you have no clue what kind of effect you've had. But here's the most outstanding part of this, is that as long as you're adding value along the way toward your goal, then the effect you're going to have in the world will add value. And if you know that, and if you can own that, then it really doesn't matter that whether you get the goal or not. Of course, we want to achieve things, okay? But the real grander scheme things of what's your purpose is to add value. If you look at it that way, and you can take this on and try it on. I'm not saying you have to do it this way, but this could be a way for you to really explore, wow, maybe I'm adding value no matter what I do. So if I'm going to create something from that place, then I can be satisfied all the time, or I can know that I'm making a difference no matter what. But what happens to many of us is we get really, really attached to the goal. Okay, so precession, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but I'm going to have us do a little exercise here in a minute so you can maybe tap into some of those subconscious core values that you may have about why you're here. Okay, it's going to be a fun little game we'll play. But if you can take it on to say, you know what, I'm here to experience, I'm here to add value, then it really is the journey, isn't it? It's not the destination. You've heard that. Yes, Robert? You have a
I don't
question?
mean, yeah, I have a question, and of course I've known you, Birch, for a long time, but I have a little bit of clarification because you're mixing the instinctual idea of the honeybee or the bees cross pollinating, and I can't help but go back to when I was a teenager in my early 20s when I was wanting to cross pollinate, and uh, and there and there's you get we're getting some morals and values mixed up here. And I'm looking for some clarification because the honeybee, or the bee has got some instinctual, beliefs, and they're just going to be automated by God, source, universe, whatever we want to call it. But then as a human, when I was in my teenage years and early 20s wanting to cross pollinate, I had some, morals and values and beliefs that, made things a little bit more difficult. And so if you could expound on that a little bit, that would be awesome.
Sure, Robert, and thank you for that. I think what's happening is you're cross pollinating the message here.
Yeah.
This isn't really about cross pollination, so maybe just get that thought out of your head because I'm using the honeybee as an example. Okay, so your goal might have been or might be to, have a relationship or explore, whatever you want to explore with another human being. Okay. However, oftentimes we have a goal, we think that's it. And if we don't achieve that, or it's not about having any kind of judgment around it, whether it's good or bad, or if it's something that I'm going to get in trouble for or whatever. It's not about the judgment piece of it. What it is as long as you're going toward a goal, you're having an effect. Now, if you're adding value along the way, that's the key here. If going toward that quote cross-pollination, okay, if you're going toward getting a girl or a woman or whatever, and you're adding value along the way, then the effect you're going to have in the world will add value. But sometimes we get hung up on, did we achieve our goal? And we get really attached. It has to be a certain way, a certain person, a certain time. Okay. And that can block our experience of the adding value part. So it's not about cross-pollinating. Okay. I was using that as an example to show you how it works in nature. Yes. Another question?
Yeah, no, you made this whole experience worth it when you brought up the idea of judgment, because that's what it was. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Yeah. I got you. I got you, Robert.
I know you're good. Thank you. That's why
I
I'm
get to, yeah, no worries. Okay. So again, if you can own your experience, if you can own this process or own this concept, that as long as I'm having an experience and I'm here to experience and add value, then the effect in the world, the effect that I have in the world will add value as well. You have an impact. And a lot of times people don't get that. They think they have to go out and, be a guru or have thousands of employees or whatever it is to think that, well, I don't have an impact. Who am I? I'm just a little person here. I'm not playing big, whatever that is. But you have a big piece to play in the world. If you can own that concept and live it and say, you know what, I'm adding value. So I may never see what my purpose is. I may never know what kind of effect I've had in the world. I'm sure most of you have gotten glimpses, if not some big glimpses, okay, of how you affect people. And it can be affecting them in a negative or a positive way. So when I mean adding value, that's positive, right? So you are important. So ask yourself, how do I serve? How do I serve and what effect do I have? If you're sitting on the couch, not doing anything, watching TV, then the effect that you have in the world is going to not be as great than if you just get off the couch, go to the grocery store. You're going to have an effect. So what effect do you have? Set your goals, absolutely, and not Don't get attached to them because it's the journey. If you get attached to it, you can always say, I choose to create this or something better. I'm choosing to create this or something better. You came to this planet for a reason. So what if that reason is, what if it's just to experience? What if you're enough just by the fact that you exist? Can you breathe that in for a minute? Yeah. What if I'm enough just because I exist? That makes everything else you do gravy, right? So let's find out some of those things. If you get your pen and paper out, because we're going to do something together. So it's also the freedom of knowing. It's kind of freeing, isn't it? Is it freedom? To me, it is. It frees me up. If I know that the goal's not really it, then if I achieve that goal, yay. If I don't, yay. I'm not as disappointed because I know that I'm having an effect no matter what I do. So it's a freedom to me to not be so attached to, if I don't make $1 bazillion by my age 70, then I failed. If I didn't have 25 kids and a great relationship for 40 years, then I failed. Okay. So what I want you to do is to make 3 columns on your piece of paper. So make vertical columns, 3 of them. So we're going to do this a little differently, like you wouldn't do like left, middle, right. So just draw 3 lines down or 2 lines down the page, whatever. So you have 3 columns, okay? On the furthest one on the right, I want you to write the word do. Uh-oh, somebody mute yourself or I'm going to have to mute you. I can hear you. Please mute or I'm going to have to mute you. Okay, there you go. Okay, so you write the word do and underline it. And in the middle of the page, of the second column, I want you to write the word have, H-A-V-E, and underline that. And on the first column, the closest one to the left, write the word be and underline that. Be, not the honeybee, but B-E. Yes, Robert?
What is the importance of underlining the words?
Are you going to do this the whole time? Because I'm going to kick you off. I'm teasing. Because you're going to be writing things underneath of it. I don't want you to get confused. Brat. Okay. So you've got 3 words written, right? On the left-hand side, it says be. In the middle, it says have. And on the right side, it says do. Okay. Now, we're going to start with the right side, which is do. I want you to write down first things that come up. What do you want to do in your life? Or what do you like to do? What do you love to do? Things like, play, sing, dance, cross-pollinate, whatever. Okay. Write down, and if you can come up with 10, that'd be great. If you can't, no big deal. But just start. You don't have to think about it too much. Just write down up to 10 things you love to do, or things you want to do, or you like to do. So just take a minute just to jot down 10 things you want to do, or that you like to do, or love to do. And if you can't come up with 10, that's okay. Just come up with as many as you can. I'll give you another 20 seconds or so. Okay, finish up on the one you're on. And then on the middle column, just jot down things or what do you want to have? Things you want to have, things you'd like to have, things you'd love to have, things you do have. Things you want more of, perhaps. I'll throw some out in case you can't think of any, like I'd like to have freedom, friends, time, healthy body.
Hey, are you reading my list?
Do-do-do-do. I'll give you 20 more seconds to finish that up. Okay, finish up on the one you're on. And then you guessed it, the last thing is on the left-hand column where it says be. Write down or jot down, how do you want to be? I want to be put loved on there somewhere. Give you 20 more seconds. Okay, finish up on the one you're on. Alrighty then. So now you have some lists. Now we're going to have fun with this list. Okay. What this is doing, it's helping you bring up some of the subconscious thoughts, or maybe they're conscious, but you're bringing them to a conscious awareness now. We're going to put them together to help you maybe have a snapshot of maybe some of your core values, okay, and your purpose. So what I want you to do is to look now and just have fun with this. You can start with the B side, right? So what you'll say is you're going to put a sentence together from left to right. So it'll say, you'll use the words feel. So you'll say, I choose to feel. Then you pick the first B that you wrote down. I choose to feel whatever that is. And then you say, and have. And then you say whatever the have is, your first have. To, and whatever your first do is. And just kind of go along the rows like that and see what it comes up with, how that shows up and works out. For instance, I had in my B, I want to feel safe. And in my have, I had freedom. And in my twos, I had teach, right? So I would say the sentence, I choose to feel safe and have freedom to teach. So you start with, I choose to feel, plug in the word, whatever you wrote down for B, and have, plug in whatever you wrote down for have, to, and then you plug in whatever your do is. And it's fascinating how it comes out. And if it makes sense, that's awesome. If it doesn't make sense, you can switch them all around. It doesn't really matter. And just notice if you wrote things down more than once, if you had a theme going there on the be, have, and do. And you can actually turn these into affirmations. So, and they may or may not make sense. But who would like to share one?
I'll share.
Okay, I knew you were, Adam. Go ahead.
I choose to feel excited and have money to travel.
Does that feel true?
Yeah, that's all true.
Right? So you can make that an affirmation,
Nice.
right? So, and remember, affirmations are little lies we tell ourselves until they become true. That's my little joke. But it's basically you're affirming. All right. So these you can turn into affirmations. Who else wants to share? Okay. Peggy Lee and then Robert.
I was just amazed at my number one thing on the list, on each list. And
Okay.
it to be, I choose to feel kind and have money to spend time with kids and grandkids.
Wow. Does that feel true?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay. Excellent. Robert.
Yeah, well, mine's a little tainted because of my love affair, but I mean, and I believe it's real, so I'm going to share it. So I choose to be confident and feel confidence to have time with Barrow and to travel with Barrow, because that's that's the direction I'm going in, and I'm excited.
Perfect. Excellent. Anyone else going to share? I have a 402 number. Are you wanting to share? And quiet. Okay. Anyone else? Arlene, you're muted, hon.
I got it. I was going to say the same exact one Adam said was number one. So I'll have to go with something else. It's interesting.
Oh, it was exactly the same?
Exactly. Well, he said excited. I said happy and excited. Money and travel. So hi, Adam. So I choose to feel brave and have freedom and go out on dates.
Love it. Love it. Great affirmation. Right?
Yes.
Now, perfect. Now the question is, all these things you wrote down, can they be purposeful? So the purposeful and the intentionality of what you're choosing. And so we did it in a way that, I wanted your subconscious to play with this. That's why I wanted you to kind of make lists and see what comes up. Because for me, there's no coincidence necessarily. Okay. That things come up in a certain way for you to be able to explore those. And so this is a peek into some of your core values, and just understand that, again, you can use these as affirmations if you choose to, but we call this our be, have, do wheel, right? It's a wheel, the be, do, have, and how much are you being, how much are you doing, and how much are you having? And when you put them all together, can this be purposeful for you? And is that enough? Okay. And here's the other piece about it, is the divine timing or the perfect timing. All of this can happen in perfect time. And if you choose to say it that way, this or something better, and in perfect time or in divine time, it kind of frees it up, right? So that you don't get so bogged down into perhaps being attached. Because didn't some things happen when you thought, oh, I have a goal, I'm going to get something, and then something happened, and maybe you got off course, and you thought, well, I'm off track now. But that off track turned into something even greater than you thought it could. And if you hadn't have done that, then the other things that followed wouldn't have happened. So that's perfect timing, and that's basically letting go of being attached. So if you want to be attached to something, be attached to the journey, not the destination, not the goal. But make the goals, because if you don't, you will not get off the couch. And if you don't get off the couch, then you don't have as much of an effect. Because remember, the effect of bodies in motion affecting other bodies in motion. That's the processional effect. So one of my favorite movies of all time about procession is It's a Wonderful Life, and it's a Christmas movie. You've never seen it. It just makes me cry because it's perfect processional movie, and explains it just excellently with Jimmy Stewart. And he basically said he wanted to die. He wanted to kill himself. He wasn't worth living. He thought he'd be better off dead than alive. And so he was going to go commit suicide, jump in the river. And an angel came and stopped him and gave him the gift of showing him what life would be like, and what the world and his whole town, what it would have been like without him being born, or without him there. And he got to see what kind of effect. He thought he had failed because he never got to do what he wanted to do. He never got to do all the things he thought he was born to do. And he got to see what effect he had in the world. People died because he wasn't. There were so many terrible things that happened because he was not in the world. And he was the one. And he realized what a wonderful life he had. He realized all of a sudden through this whole process of what effect he had had. Now just think, if an angel came and showed you what effect you've had in the world, if you hadn't been there, what would have happened around you? Can you imagine?
I would love it.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you, it'd be totally different. The world would be totally different. And I'll say one more thing about it, Mercedes, is that the minute he realized what kind of effect and power and purpose he had in the world, what happened in the movie at the end? Do you remember? He was showered with, he thought he was going to jail. He thought, that everything was, he was showered with more money than he had ever dreamed of having, that people just gave him. At the very end, all of it, basically, he realized what a wonderful life he had. And that's when all of the riches came to him easily, and he received all the love that people poured out from their love and from their money and from their time and from just how important he really was to these people. Yeah. And that's when he got showered and was released from his pain. Mercedes, you were going to say something?
No, I'm going to put out a request for that.
Okay. That you want an angel to come and show you what life would be like without you?
Yeah. I would be happy to have an angel come to let me know. Okay. Do. Okay. I don't know what I would put in do.
You'd like to have an angel come and show you what kind of effect you've had in the world?
Yes.
So, Mercedes, be very mindful of what you ask for, because I want you to pay attention from now on. Every time you wake up in the morning, pay attention to, okay, what is my gift today? What am I going to be shown today? Because I'll give you a little hint. Angels come every day. Whatever form you want to call angels, okay, or energy or whatever it is, they can come in a lot of different forms. Through people, all kinds of things will come to you and show you how important you really are. But you have to pay attention and not dismiss it. Many people that ask me all the time, Burge, what is my purpose? It's because they dismissed it. They get the answers all the time. But how often do we just say, oh, that's not important. That's not it. So I'm imagining that you're going to get a lot of gifts coming your way, but you have to pay attention.
Okay.
And say, oh. Arlene?
I'm not an angel.
Yes, you are. That's my point.
I will say that without Mercedes, all the loves of my life would not exist. So her two daughters are the loves of my life, and their two children, which are her grandchildren. Those are the loves of my life. So that would be I can't even imagine the whole.
Thank you.
Plus not be my sister. So anyway.
Well, that makes me cry. So that's really heartfelt. That's the point. Thank you, Arlene. I was hoping you were going to speak up. That is the point, honey, is that it is a heartfelt thing. You get to look around you and go, if I hadn't have done this, and actually all of you who have done Essence of Being or any of the workshops that I've done or that we've done together, and those of you who that will come and do something with us together, there's so many ways you can look around and see what you've experienced and how you've shown up in the world and who you've affected. Because the more you learn and the more you grow and the more you share, the more you add value. Oh, look at the kids in the background. Hello. Hi, honey. So yes, that's our legacy back there. Yeah. And so thank you for sharing that. That makes my heart trip too. So one of the other things that does anybody else want to share anything before I move on?
I want to share this. I don't know if you can read it.
Happiness is found in the journey, not at the destination. I heard that somewhere.
I read this every day because I have it on the wall. That's pretty much the first thing I see in the morning, and I'm walking by it all day long.
Okay, so own it and pay attention
Yes, thank you.
that you're in the journey. Okay.
Yes, I appreciate that.
Okay. So for instance, I'm sure all of you have what I call a Reggie story. And my Reggie story is not long in the 70s, I was teaching drama and theater in Atlanta. And I was doing a show called Godspell. And I cast this Black kid in Atlanta as Jesus. And it was really controversial in Godspell. But he was this brilliant talent. He was just so amazing. And he was in high school, right? And it was a performing arts school. And he performed it was his passion, right? So I cast him in that, and at the end of it, he was going to graduate, and I said, Reggie, you've got to do this. You've got to do this. This is your life. I mean, this is who you are. This is your purpose, right? This is how you've come to be. This is follow your dreams, right? And he said, well, I really want to, but my mom and my dad want me to become a doctor. So I just kind of said, as you know, a theater teacher, I said, well, okay. I said, just follow your dreams, honey. I said, it's your passion. I really would do it if I were you. Whatever you need to do, just I hope you can continue this, right? And I never saw him again until 4 years later. There I was in front of the castle in Orlando, in front of Disney World with Cinderella's castle. And guess who was out front doing a solo? It was Reggie. And I was jumping up and down, going crazy, going, Reggie, oh my God, Reggie. I recognized him, and he saw me this crazy woman jumping up and down in the audience, and he called for me backstage, and I ran back to him, and he got down on his knees, and he said, thank you, Burge. Thank you so much for telling me to follow my dreams. I did, and I loved it, and my parents are so proud of me, and I'm traveling around the world. I'm going to Japan, and I'm going to all those places, and Disney. He was just, I mean, I was so verklempt. I had no idea that I had that effect on that kid. I had no idea. All I said to him was, go follow your dreams, kid. I didn't know. And I am so certain that every one of you has a Reggie story. Because you all matter, and you all make a difference. And you're all important. And if I could send an angel, whether it be energetic or physical, with people, with animals, with the planet, if I could really have you open your eyes and see how powerful you really have been and will continue to be, that is my gift for you. That's what my intention would be for you. So if you create anything from I matter, then everything you create matters. I'll say that again. If you create from the place of I matter, then everything you create matters. So ask yourself, what effect do I have instead of what is my purpose? What effect do I have? And our reason for being here could be, I'm just going to throw this out. Our reason for being here on this planet is to see God or universe or source or energy or something in action every day within us. That could be it. Because when one of us moves, it pulls another person in that direction. It's sort of like, what are those things that just kind of pull, and like a mobile, right? You move one piece and another one moves. Okay. We have that kind of effect energetically and physically with people and with everything and everybody we touch and meet. So, of course, one of my favorite sayings I teach in Essence of Being is trust and allow and don't ask how. So if you're asking, how can I show up and how can I make a difference? Just trust and allow that you are. But you have to, my suggestion is you have to choose to pay attention and allow it.
Okay.
So what if I'm on track? What if I'm already there? The rest is gravy. So instead of beating ourselves up about I should be, I would be, I could be. And remember what happens when you beat yourself up, you feel guilty, and guilt demands punishment. Therefore, you will start self-sabotaging yourself or you will create punishment to you because you feel guilty that you haven't done whatever. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. So my suggestion is for all of us out there that have that tendency is to embrace it. Embrace everything that's happened to us. Embrace it all. The shadow, the light, the good, the bad, the right, the wrong. Embrace it all and just know that you are making a difference somewhere, somehow. And you may get those glimpses like I got with Reggie. And not give up. Never surrender. Do not give up on yourself. Because I know in my life, those of you who I do know and who I can see that's on this, you have made a difference in my life. And I know what my life would be like without you. And perhaps your purpose was to show up and be in my life. So I thank you.
Good, Verge.
Yes. Was that Donna Reyna? Did somebody say something?
Yes,
Did you say something?
it is Donna Ray. I guess I wasn't muted. I just agreed with you. Hi, honey. And
Hello,
I
my
just
friend.
said, good, Verge.
Okay. Okay. All right. I called you out on it. All right. Good. So,
Hey,
yes. And you know what? The thing that, for those of you who don't understand about subconscious and conscious thoughts, and thank you, honey, is if we're aligned, if our bubble talk, which is the subconscious thought that keeps you from getting what you want, it's like the little voice in your head, it's a bubble above your head that says what you're thinking. So if you're thinking, I haven't done this yet, or I'm not good enough, or I'm not on my track, I'm not purposeful, I'm not intentional, I haven't made it yet, whatever it is, that's your subconscious thought, but it could be blocking you from really allowing it, because your conscious and your subconscious, if you're aligned, okay, then the world is your oyster. It's easier to create from that place if your conscious thought and your subconscious are aligned. So catch yourself saying those things that do not feel purposeful and intentional for you. Catch yourself and do a pinch and shift. And what that is, the pinch and shift is where you pinch yourself and you say, oh, until recently I felt that way, or until recently I thought that. I choose to. Choose is a really powerful word. Oh, when you hear yourself saying, oh, I could have done that, or I should have done that. Oh! Change your should to choose. Change your could to choose. Change your would to choose. Pinch yourself, pattern interrupt. It brings your attention somewhere else, okay? And speaking of intention and attention somewhere else, I invite all of you to come play with me. We're going to be alive again. Oh my God, we're going to be live in person, touching people. No, well, anyway, we're going to be live again. We're doing our Higher Vibes class. All of you want to come to that in May here in Atlanta. And Essence of Being, we're doing our first Essence of Being since September of 2019. OMG. So that's our flagship workshop. Those of you who have taken it, you know that. And all of you haven't, please come play with us. It's our one and only one we're doing this year, June 25th through the 27th in Atlanta. It's our one and only. And those of you who have done Essence of Being but haven't done Passionate, come play with us in August. And if you haven't done Mastery yet, join Robert and Peggy Lee, and I don't know who else on this call, that are going to be there doing the Mastery class, because we're doing that again, and that's in October. So there's so many. If you go to essenceofbeing.com and you just look at the calendar of events, it has every one of the things we're going to be doing. And if you still want to do virtual, I'm doing another virtual class in June, Essence of Communication, so that you can choose to communicate perhaps in a different way. And those of you who've done my virtual classes, they've done some really great stuff. I never, I'm a live person, like touchy-feely person, but the virtuals have done well. So that's a communication class. At our next power hour, those of you who would like to join us again next month is going to be falling in love versus orbiting in love. Falling in love versus orbiting in love. And that's May 19th. Remember, it's always the third Wednesday of every month. Okay. Third Wednesday of every month, we do our power hours. So anybody else want to share before I jump off? Anybody want to share anything or have any questions or?
Yeah, I want to say something.
No. Yes, Robert.
I just want to say, Robert, Adam, Daryl, Joe, Reggie, hey, thanks for being on the call, because a lot of times it's just a lot of females here, but I enjoy seeing some other men on the call. So I appreciate you guys joining. And I'm not on every call, but this call, I feel like my brothers were with me. So thank you.
You're not the lone wolf. Okay, awesome. Yeah, there's about, I would say in our whole community of people around the world, there's about 35% male, and then about 35% or so. And then I've had workshops where it's mostly male. That doesn't happen often, but it does. And that is because there are more women in the world, and also, being vulnerable. It's a thing. Okay. So my strength lies in my vulnerability. So thank you for sharing, Robert. And all of you who shared tonight and said anything, I appreciate it. I'm a very experiential because I like working with you in that way. Does anybody? Jen, there's Jen. If there's anything that you guys want to share before we go.
Burge, I'll share. I thought it was great. Thank you so much. It was fun and inspirational.
Aw,
Enjoyed it.
thank you, my friend, my new beach buddy.
Yeah,
She's got. Can I share?
sure.
So she just got a beach house. So yeah.
And that was a lesson in perfect timing, which I had to say all day, every day.
Yes, it was. It was a challenge, and it happened in perfect timing. So, but she bought my beach house. That's why I know it. But we're keeping it in the family, so it's awesome. Keeping it in the tribe, as it were. All right. Anything else? Okay. So I hope to see all of you at Higher Vibes or Essence of Being, or my virtual class and Essence of Communication, or my next power hour. So I appreciate all of you playing with us. And remember, you make a difference, you matter, and you're important. And I will see you and hold you and connect with you soon. Thank you for being in my life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
Burge.
Bye.
Every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
Ah!